My name is David Clevin, and I am the president of AnimalCare Software. AnimalCare Software is a cloud-based animal record-keeping system and frontline staff communication solution. The customizability of AnimalCare software we believe could be a solution for zoos and aquariums for emergency response. In March 2018, a group met in Fort Worth, Texas and formed the Texas Emergency Response Coalition. The devastation from Hurricane Harvey demonstrated a need for a communication and coordination solution to respond to future disasters. AnimalCare can be the customizable solution for emergency response. For this demonstration, we wanted to show off some of the capabilities of the software. First of all, let's take a look at administrative controls. The customizability of the software allows it to be a solution for many different needs. Here we are in the app settings where the administrator can set all of your universal settings. There's also some customizable features here. Let's take a look at customizable measurements. We have several measurements in here for animals already. We've also added some measurements though for things like debris removal, equipment hours, and man hours, all things that might need to be tracked in an emergency response. One of the items that came up at the meeting was how to set roles and permissions so that everyone can access the software but only see information that applies to them. The administrator can set as many roles and permissions as you might need. Here we're going to take a look at just the member access. You can restrict access time if you wish. There are 2 and sometimes 3 different options for access: no access, has access, or within assigned sections. One thing that we have here is we wanted to make sure that you could not uncheck someone else's completed task, so we can just change this to no access, and so the only items you can uncheck are items you've checked yourself. The administrator can set access rights for just about any part of the software: measurements, animal inventory, medical records, medical reminders, daily reports, even running reports, and group management. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, we wanted to show how we could set up the section management in a way to address the different agencies that are involved and different facilities that are involved with any emergency response. This layout does not reflect how it will look in the final version. Here you can see in the USDA section that we have the USDA inspector assigned and the administrator. Here you can see the Texas Emergency Response Coalition members, which have been broken up by region. And here's Region 2, which is one of the regions that was affected by Hurricane Harvey. With the permission setting within assigned section, you can only see the sections that you were assigned to. Now let's take a look at the Texas Division of Emergency Management. And I'm going to click on the Edit button here to show you how you can attach documents here of relevance for emergency response. In this case, we have the Texas State Coordinators. We're going to cancel out of this. In the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, the Texas Zoo in Victoria, Texas was one of the facilities that was affected. So we set up a section here for the animals that went to the San Antonio Zoo, which can be used for communication between the 2 facilities. Now let's take a look at the communication aspect of the software. We are first going to look at tagging and hashtag management. Here, an administrator or any user with the permission may manage tags and hashtags. Here you can see the top mentioned hashtags and all the notes with recently mentioned hashtags or tagged users. You can also search the tags and hashtags, either all of them or just the ones you're subscribed to. So if I scroll down here, I'm going to select one of the users and you will see the note that they were tagged in. Here's another user. Now let's select one of the hashtags, Hurricane Harvey, and you will see all the mentions with that hashtag. Now let's take a look at the Notification Subscription Management area. Here, an administrator or a user can set their preferences for how they're going to receive notifications. There's all sorts of notifications that the users can get on type and activity. You can choose your preferences for all these. You can choose to email me and email me immediately. Future enhancements will include texting ability and push notifications. Now let's take a look at a simulated solution for response to a hurricane like Harvey. So for this demonstration, we went and got historical data for Hurricane Harvey. So you can see we've created the hashtag here for hashtag Tropical Storm Watch. Anybody that subscribes to that would get a notification. We also have an attachment here that shows the path of Hurricane Harvey. This was the path a week out when it was first named. Below, we've also attached the NOAA alert. Note that only those with the permission may actually edit this document. You can see in the calendar here we have some color options. So the orange indicates that there's something important. We have the hashtag that's been created here for our hurricane watch. Anybody that subscribes to that would get this notification. And we also have some attachments here showing the level of the warnings. Harvey actually went back and forth between being a tropical depression and a tropical storm. When it did become a Category 1 hurricane, it quickly accelerated and became a Category 2, Category 3, and then eventually, as we'll see here, a Category 4 by the time it actually hit the Gulf Coast. In our Turk alerts now, you will see that we have multiple hashtags. We have Activate Emergency Region 2 and Activate Emergency Region 6. Those were the two regions that were most threatened by the hurricane's effect. Although Harvey came ashore as a Category 4, it quickly became evident to forecasters that the greatest concern might actually be flooding. Some of the predicted rainfall amounts ranged from 12 to well over 30 inches. One of the facilities hit hardest by the flooding was the Texas Zoo in Victoria, Texas. Here in the Turk alerts, you can see how we've set it up so we could activate Emergency All, and that they could put in hashtags for the items that were needed by the Texas Zoo, and also tag someone to be a coordinator. The storm ride-out crew from the Texas Zoo were on their own for several days before assistance could arrive. The Texas Zoo had need for equipment and personnel. With many different facilities storing their inventory in many different methods, we had the challenge in how to find what equipment was available and what personnel was available. So we came up with a business directory. Each facility could add their own information, create hashtags for the type of equipment and personnel that they had available, and then simply attach a document that detailed out their inventory. Initial access to the Texas Zoo was blocked by flooded roads. Finding the way in was the first hurdle. We wanted to create a communication system that would allow all personnel and staff and volunteers to be involved and be able to enter information into the software. Notice in the administrative view that all menu options are available. They see all the sections, can view the entire animal inventory for the affected facilities as well. There were several animals that had to be evacuated from the Texas Zoo to the San Antonio Zoo. Here we're going to look at the receiving facility view for the San Antonio Zoo staff. They can see the one section that the animals are assigned to, and then they can view the animal inventory. Here they can view the details of the animals but not make any edits or changes. From the San Antonio Zoo staff view, they only see medical reminders and tasks that have been assigned to the animals in their section. The two facilities have one daily report that they can share that the animals have been assigned to. This way they can share notes and information, track medical reminders and tasks as they've applied to the animals. Marking off medical reminders and tasks happen in real time. Here you can see how the use of custom measurements, you can add food offered and enter weights for this. You can use a conversion table if you like. You can also enter in amount of food eaten as well, and that way you're tracking the daily care of the animals and you're going to have data that charts this. Now the information in here is for demonstration purposes only, but if we had several data points, you could actually create a graph of the data or just a table of the data. Now let's take a look at the view that the Texas Zoo staff will have. Here we have created two daily reports for the Texas Zoo, one that they're going to use for sharing information about the animals and another one that they're going to be using for the cleanup of their site. Notice the detailed information under medical reminders for who it was given by, the instructions for how it was to be given, what time it was actually given, and if the animals took all the medication. On the right hand side we see the tasks that have been assigned to the Texas Zoo staff. If we take a look at the Texas Zoo staff view of the animal inventory, you will notice that there's an edit button and a detail button, so they can edit any information they need about their animals. Now let's take a look at the daily report view that they have at the Texas Zoo. So notice there's a note here, and we would have received a notification because there's a tag here. I can also add a note, and this could be communication back and forth between the two staffs. This way that the communication is open back and forth and it happens live. Actually, both facilities could log in at the same time and update this information in real time. Notice all the notes list the information, who the note was created by, and if there was updates to it. If we scroll down here, we can take a look at the measurements that were entered in earlier for Chad. We can take a look at the amount of food that was offered and eaten. Let's scroll up here, and we're going to take a look at this other daily report that we created for the Texas Zoo, and this is the Texas Zoo site cleanup. This is a page where they can track daily notes and tag people. Put attachments in here. You can see some tasks, and we have our Turk assessment that's attached. There can be a lot of information that you're required to collect during an emergency response. We're going to take a look at some FEMA reporting here. This section has been set up so the Texas Zoo staff can track detailed information for FEMA. Here we have some notes that can be added. If we scroll down here, you can see that you can enter in notes on the type of debris removal. You can also add measurements for this. So if we click here, we can actually see that we've entered in some measurements, 2 tons of trees and limbs that have been removed. So you can track that detailed information. We have also set up a couple sections here for both personnel to track their hours and their work. And you can view measurements. You can add your man hours here and track them that way. And if I scroll down further, you can see we've also done the same thing for equipment. Thank you for taking the time to check out AnimalCare software and how we might be able to be a solution in an emergency response situation. You can view more about AnimalCare software at animalcaresoftware.com. If you have any questions or comments, please contact me at dave@animalcaresoftware.com.